I'm Peter Russell. I teach at UCLA and Pepperdine, and I'm here to talk today to you about three amazing stories. And I'm going to break down each one of them and tell you what's great about it. And the first one I'm going to start out with is a great new television show. In fact, it won Emmy of the best drama last year. It's called Mr. Robot. And I'm really proud one of my students has been just really intimately involved in this story from the beginning. And I'm really proud of him. And I also want to talk about why Mr. Robot as a television show has done so well. So when we look at a show, a television show, it's very different from a film in a lot of ways. First of all, we need a hook that's going to bring people back for 100 episodes, at least, maybe 150. I have a manager who says, Peter, we got to get to 100 eps, whoever you're working with. We need to get to 100 eps because that's when the big payoff comes. But a hook in television is different than in a movie. It's what's going to bring you back to the story for episode after episode. So what is that in Mr. Robot? Well, the hook in Mr. Robot really is this cyber vigilante fighting against these huge villains. I mean, if you have credit card debt or if you have a school debt, then these villains are people you can hate. And part of the reason Mr. Robot's done so well with the young demographic that it has is that so many students, and I have them at UCLA and Pepperdine, they're in debt. They're in debt $100,000 or $200,000, and it's a debt you can't get rid of. You can get rid of credit card debt. You cannot get rid of school debt. So the hook here for that audience, and it's why Mr. Robot is partly so popular, is that it's identifying the villain as a villain that these people can hate. And that's going to bring them back for many, many episodes. Now, what's the world here? It's the high-tech world. It's out of the matrix. And I often say in television, if you want to create a good original TV show, and I urge that you do because the market now is roaring. We've never had a better time to buy television, to sell television story. We've gone from 250 to nearly 500 scripted shows in television in America in the last 5 years. It is a boom. So you want to have a movie idea that you love and you want to twist it slightly. That's what Mr. Robot does. It twists the genre of the Matrix and it makes it more modern. It's the cyber vigilante who is fighting back against the system, fighting back against this incredible enemy. So what's the setting? Well, it's New York. That's perhaps not its most important thing, its most important attraction. The theme here is you can fight against the biggest enemies in the world. They are, in this case, the finance company that run the world. The tone here is very real. And the tone is important in a television show because if it's real, you want to make sure the show gives you real, genuine, inside information. And in Mr. Robot, that's what you get. You get all this great technology. You really understand how the internet works. It isn't just that horrible cliche in a movie where somebody just goes, oh, we're in, and then that's the last you hear of the computer technology. It's all about the computer technology. It's very real. The character situation in a television show needs to be one where it is a permanent dilemma. It's not resolvable in one episode. That's really important, and it's different from movies. For instance, in a show like Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which was a great show by Joss Whedon, Buffy's permanent dilemma is that she wants to just be a cheerleader, happy at a high school, but she has to kill vampires every week. That dilemma is never resolved. When you have a bad television show, they don't do that. They simply give you a character that you can resolve within a few episodes. It's no fun. The permanent dilemma here is that our hero is insane, and he's also never really going to be able to get away from computers and from the internet. That's the way he fights the villain, but it's also the way that keeps him alienated from the real world. So we have a fantastic permanent dilemma in this show. We also have, usually in a television show, a guy or a girl with a superpower who is misusing that superpower at the beginning of the pilot. In Jessica Jones, she's misusing her superpower. In even a show like Mad Men, Don Draper's misusing his seductive ability to tell stories to seduce women and to ruin families. In Breaking Bad, we have a chemical genius who is misusing his superpower at the beginning of the pilot. He's not using his chemical genius to do anything. By the end of the pilot, he's using it for malevolent purposes, but he is using it. And so we also need characters who fascinate and surprise us. So Mr. Robot has all of this. So what brings you back every week to Mr. Robot is the same thing that brings you back to Man in the High Castle, to Making a Murderer, to Orange is the New Black. By the way, what is the big hook in Orange is the New Black? It's a great show done by a great female showrunner. The question that brings you back is, will Piper ever figure out her sexuality and make it out of prison? And that's a permanent dilemma because she never does. She keeps going back from men to women to men to women, and we want to watch and see if she resolves it. She never will. Most great TV stories have this story question at their center, and you need that too. What's the question in your television show? For Jessica Jones, it's, will Jessica learn she can fight the villain and win without losing her ability to trust and love? For Breaking Bad, it's, how far is Walter going to break bad? The answer is insanely far. So, Mr. Robot, the question is, will Elliot be able to take down the evil villain who controls the world's entire banking system? A villain who enslaves nearly everyone on the planet who has debt? That's a great question. And we're going to see how, by the way, in Game of Thrones, it's a very simple question. Who is going to win? Which family is going to win the throne? And it takes 8 years, 10 years, they say now, for that question to resolve itself, okay? So we always have this in a great television show. We always do. The world here is not that great. Breaking Bad's is way better. Mad Men's is the cool world of 60s sex and television. Orange is the New Black, what do you think that is? It's women in prison, and it's very sexy. That's a great world. Mr. Robot's world is the Matrix, but it's twisted. It's set in grunge, hipster New York, Brooklyn, New York, and that also appeals to its target audience, right? And the venue matters too. Are you writing your show for network? Are you writing your show for cable? Or are you writing your show for internet platform? If you're setting it for network, it's going to be more tame, but it also is 10 times the money. If you're setting it for cable, you're making less money, but you can be far more free in what you show. If you're setting it in the IP world, you can show anything, right up to and including sex and violence. The content is twisted more and more depending on the platform, yes? Now, classic TV genres are just twists. That's what makes a modern television show. So take a television show you love and twist it. Give it more sex, give it more violence, or give it an appealing villain that we can all hate. Mr. Robot is cable, which means we can show nudity, we can show drug use. We have a niche audience, right? That means you can have several plot storylines and your hero can be darker than he might be in network. A lot darker, and you can keep him flawed. And that's exactly what Elliot is in Mr. Robot. Now remember, in television, heroes don't heal. They just keep bleeding. In a movie, a hero will heal by the end of the show. Not so in television.